Look at the phone in your hand. If it's the new iPhone 17, you didn't just buy a smartphone, you just paid a $1,200 entry fee to a gated community that Apple is slowly turning into a prison. While you were watching those glossy, minimalist commercials for Apple Intelligence, Tim Cook was pulling off the greatest heist in consumer history. We've been told that $1,200 price tag is the cost of innovation, but we performed a financial autopsy on this titanium brick, and the numbers don't just feel wrong, they're insulting. How did we get to a point where a smartphone costs more than a used car did a decade ago? It started with the $600 iPhone 4, a device that felt like magic. Today, the flagship starts at $1,199 and easily climbs towards $1,600 once you add enough storage to actually hold those high-res photos. Did the cost of glass and silicon double? No. Did inflation justify a 100% hike? Not even close. The truth is far more disturbing. Apple has stopped being a hardware company and started being a social engineer. They have successfully shifted the iPhone from a tech utility into what economists call a Veblen good, a luxury item where the high price is actually the primary feature because it signals to everyone else that you can afford it. When you pull back the curtain and perform a financial autopsy on this $1,200 titanium brick, the numbers simply don't add up. Industry analysts have performed the teardowns, they've looked at the invoices from the factories in Shenzhen, and they've calculated the real bill of materials. What they found is an insulting gap between what it costs to make and what you are forced to pay. Apple isn't just selling you a phone, they are selling you a subscription to your own social status. They are using Apple Intelligence as the bait to make your perfectly functional iPhone 15 feel like a relic. We're going to find the Apple tax hidden inside. I'm going to show you exactly how much this device actually costs to build. Hint, it's less than a mid-range iPad. Buckle up. We are going inside the most profitable trap on Earth. To understand the scale of the Apple tax, we have to stop looking at the marketing and start looking at the hardware. In late 2025, industry analysts performed the first comprehensive teardowns of the iPhone 17 Pro Max. They calculated the bill of materials, the raw cost of every single component, and the results are a reality check for anyone who thinks $1,200 is a fair price. Let's start with the brain, the A19 Pro chip. This is the piece of silicon Apple claims is essential for Apple Intelligence to function locally. Its estimated cost? About $91. That is less than the price of a pair of entry-level AirPods for the most advanced component in the phone. Then there's the 5G modem, another $90, followed by that stunning Super Retina XDR display. Because Apple buys these screens in such massive volumes, their cost per unit has plummeted to roughly $80. The camera system, the triple lens array they spend half of every keynote talking about, clocks in at another $80. Even the camera control button, the big physical innovation of late, costs Apple less than $20 to manufacture. When you add up the titanium frame, the glass back, the internal cooling, and even the tiny $12 battery, the total raw cost to build an iPhone 17 Pro Max is approximately $408.13. Apple is charging you $1,200 for $408 worth of parts. That is a gross margin of nearly $800 per device. The fanboys will argue that R&D and software costs justify this gap, but the data says otherwise. Apple's R&D spending as a percentage of revenue remains consistently lower than rivals like Meta or Google. You aren't paying for future tech, you are paying for the world's most expensive marketing machine and a $140 billion quarterly revenue target. Apple has mastered the art of charging a 200% markup on a miracle that actually costs them less than a high-end iPad to produce. If the hardware costs don't justify the price, why don't we all just switch to a $600 Android that has the same specs? Because Apple isn't just selling a phone, they've built a prison. In early 2026, the landmark U.S. versus Apple antitrust case is still exposing the blue bubble trap as a deliberate tool of social engineering. Apple doesn't keep you because their product is better. They keep you because they've made leaving painful. The DOJ alleges that Apple intentionally degrades the experience of messaging between iPhones and Androids. By maintaining the green bubble stigma and blocking high-quality media sharing, Apple has created a digital caste system that effectively ostracizes anyone outside their ecosystem. This isn't a technical limitation, it's a choice to lock in the next generation of consumers through peer pressure. But the walled garden goes deeper than just text messages. Apple has been accused of sabotaging super apps and cloud gaming services that would allow you to move your digital life seamlessly across devices. They want the Apple Watch to be your only choice and the App Store to be your only market. Even their 2024 settlement over Batterygate proves they aren't above secretly slowing down your older device to force an upgrade. By the time you realize you're being overcharged, you're already too invested to leave. You've bought the apps, synced the photos, and hooked your friends. The $1,200 price tag isn't for the titanium or the AI. It's the ransom you pay to keep your digital life from breaking. The $1,200 you hand over at the Apple Store is no longer a one-time purchase. It's an entry fee to a lifelong subscription model. As we move through 2026, Apple's strategy has shifted from selling hardware to what economists call rent-seeking. They aren't just selling you a phone anymore, they are turning you into a recurring revenue stream. By now, services like Premium Apple Intelligence are the real profit drivers. Analysts estimate these features could cost you an additional $10 to $20 a month for the same AI capabilities that were once promised as part of the hardware. Combined with the 30% App Store tax and the soaring cost of iCloud storage, Apple's services segment just hit a staggering $30 billion in a single quarter. They have created a psychological sunk cost trap, where admitting you got ripped off is more painful than just paying the next bill. So, how do you break the cycle? Start with financial hygiene. First, stop the annual upgrade loop. In 2026, the A17 chip in an older iPhone 15 Pro is still more powerful than 99% of users will ever need for AI tasks. Second, stop financing that invisible $40 monthly payment. Pay cash and feel the sting of $1,200 leaving your wallet. It's the only cure for upgrade fever. Finally, repair instead of replacing. Apple charges $119 for a battery that costs them roughly $12 to buy. Finding a reputable third-party shop can add years to your device for a fraction of the cost. Apple is a master of business, but they are not your friend. They are an extraction machine designed to turn your status anxiety into their profit margin. But if you think the Apple tax is bad, there is another industry that makes these margins look like a bargain, a global cartel that sells you a common rock at a 5,000% markup by inventing the concept of eternal love. In our next video, we're exposing the $100 billion diamond scam. Subscribe so you don't miss it.